All right, here we are at yet another, and then another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Bill.
Podcast number 446, Peter. 446. I said that we were going to change the platform at 450, and I think I lied because I don't know if I'm going to do that. I'm big should I, shouldn't I stage there. So we're just going to continue as usual. All right, today's title. Did you have something you wanted to say?
I just want to know when the party is. Every time we get to be 100, there's going to be a party. Then 200 is a party. And 500 is coming. Where's the party? That's all I want to know.
Exactly.
I want pony rides and cake and cupcakes. Come on.
Oh, my God. Well, you can come to my grandson's birthday. How's that?
Close enough.
They don't do pony rides anymore. They do trampoline parks.
Okay.
And video games. All right, today's title. New Certified Creative Real Estate Entrepreneur Education. This is probably not going to be something that is going to have a lot of viewers at first, but once we get going and people realize what I'm doing, it will become very, very popular. Here's the description. All right, listen up. If you're stuck in the soul-crushing If you're stuck in the soul-crushing grind of a 9-to-5er, trading your precious time, then this episode is for you and a wake-up call. I'm about to hand you the keys to the kingdom of writing your own paychecks, setting your own hours, and build a creative real estate ATM machine faster than ever before. Today, I'm going to show you how to become a certified real estate entrepreneur. And I'm not selling you a dream like all those other gurus did in the past. Today, I'm going to introduce to you the most affluent and proven blueprint in real estate so that any human being can flourish and prosper in America with real estate. Forget gold. Forget the stock market or Bitcoin. Those are all one-trick ponies. Paying with only one dividend instead of 3 to 5 ways in this new system. The best part? No more endless studying. I'm going to show you how to do a deal within the next 30 days and make money by learning the process and building confidence and wisdom. Let's get into action so you can see it.
Okay, here it comes, folks.
Here we go. All right, so let's do some of our housekeeping, which I don't even know what that is anymore. There's a link inside of the chat, or not the chat, inside of the description. It's got a direct email to me. You could go to support if you want, but you can directly email me. If you leave a review for us or a 5-star review for us and take a picture of it and send it to flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com, I will send you many goodies, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of stuff I sold in the past, scripts and calculators and courses, if you so desire. Maybe you don't think that's what you want, and there's something else you would like from me, like a 45-minute one-on-one consultation. I will do that because if you go on my calendar, I've stopped that, Peter. I stopped doing that in the beginning of 2025.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm not doing that anymore. I don't even do it for Creative Aria Replay anymore because I want to get this new system that we're talking about, or we're going to talk about today, launched. I want to get our university in place, and I want to standardize creative real estate forever. We are going to be a force that NAR has no idea it's coming. I've been told by 2 people and had to have a conversation with my attorney on this topic because I was told by 2 very significant people that if I do what I say I'm going to do, that NAR will attack me.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, because I'm going to be taking money out of their pocket. I'm going to be showing the American people the way it is. So with the new administration, I decided to go along with the flow, right? The hypnotic flow that's going on in the country that most don't realize, which is everything's transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the documents. Here's all the stuff. Take a look and you decide. Don't listen to what I'm telling you.
Right.
I finished my new book, which is coming out soon. And this is all predicated off of that book. So that'll be next podcast or so. I will have that. It's being published right now, so it'll be very soon. So anyways, that was not really housekeeping. That sounded more like an advertisement, didn't it?
Sign me up.
Anyways, yeah, just make sure you subscribe to us and like us wherever you're watching us or listening to us, because we do a podcast every single week. We record, we live stream while we're recording on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. If you just go to Flipping Houses for Rookies on YouTube, we do it on Creative REA Replay too. So you can go to either one of those two channels. All right, enough of that. All right, Peter, ready?
Ready to go.
Listen up. This is the beginning of a new age for real estate. I can't say that enough. This is not some marketing hyperbole. How do you say that word?
That was good.
Hyperbole.
That's
right?
good. Yeah.
We're not. This is not some marketing ploy. This is not some special thing to get you to buy something. This is a absolute, positively cataclysmic shift in real estate. This will be forever noted these times. This is a golden age, and I am personally making it that way. I've had this dream for at least a decade, maybe longer, and with all the technology and the tools, it is very possible to make it happen. We're rolling on a new system that will start certifying creative real estate entrepreneurs. I do not have it ready today, but it's likely it'll be ready the next podcast, or if not, the one following it, because there's a lot of work there. I'm going to tell you about it at the end of the show, because I want to go through some of the things and the reason why we're doing this. So the truth is this, and this is the truth, and I want you to either agree with me or disagree with me. I'm cool with either one, right? Most of us have been played as suckers from the realtor system and all of the so-called gurus who think they're the cat's meow because they figured one thing out. Have you ever noticed when we go to all these seminars and $5,000 we paid, $10,000, we even paid as much as $30,000 for one system, right?
Yeah.
And we buy all the. I'm not a sucker. I buy all the stuff if I can. If I can afford it, I buy it all because I want to use it and I want to do good. And there's no other place to find tools like that than in a seminar.
Yeah.
But now that I've created this system, we were suckers.
Why do you say that?
I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes.
Okay.
Because we've been doing it completely backwards. And when I changed it in Creative REI Replay, I have so many successes I can't even keep track. We've had, in the last 2 weeks, last time I looked, we had 53 success stories in the last 2 weeks.
Yikes.
With people that are doing deals.
That's incredible.
In Creative REI, brand new people that have come from somewhere else and paid all the money to all the gurus and couldn't get it done.
We've seen that a lot. We used to see it live. We see it online now. Yeah.
In fact, most think they are in or doing real estate, but in fact are on the hamster wheel, begging for scraps while only a few greedy folks laugh all the way to the bank. Now, why would I say that, Peter? I don't mix my words. I like to think that I'm telling the truth. I like to think that whatever I'm telling you isn't some, I shot from the hip or shot from the lip, as we say. I've done my research or I've experienced it. I read a lot, so that has a lot to do with why I can say some things I say, because I try to read a couple books a week if I can. It doesn't always happen. It depends on what's going on. I get in the funnel like this week. I've been working until 10 o'clock every night, so I haven't been reading as much. But here's what I mean. I'm just going to say this real quick, so you know that I'm not giving you hyperbole. Okay.
I had to look that up myself recently, so I wonder if our guests know what that means.
So go ahead and tell them.
Well, for me, it's exaggeration, like really being over the top and like making big claims.
Dramatizing, yeah.
Exaggerating.
Dramatizing something small, making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what I mean. When I say, in fact, most think they are in or doing real estate, but in fact are on the hamster wheel, begging for scraps while only a few greedy folks laugh all the way to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to get into this because I could speak for 2 hours. I could speak for a whole afternoon on this one subject.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, what the American people don't know, right, is that, well, we know there's no more gold standard
Behind our dollar.
So what that means is Nixon, I think in 79 or whenever it was, I don't have the date right, but Nixon released the gold standard. Pretty much what that meant is what gold did was limit how much money the government could print.
Mm-hmm.
So if we only had this much gold, we can only print that much money. By eliminating the gold standard, it removed the ceiling on how much they can print.
Yep.
So with that said, what does the stock market trade with then? So if you want to see this, what the hell's the name of the movie? The Big. Oh my God.
Yeah, the big. Yeah.
It's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of it. It's about derivatives. Anyways, it was about COVID, right? So what happens is now what happens is our money is backed by mortgages. It's called a T-bill. A T-bill is a package of mortgages. And the only reason why they get away with it is because AIG is an insurance company that backs the mortgages or backs the T-bills. And so they're buying and trading. They're buying and trading mortgages.
And the T-bills are treasury bills?
Treasury bills, they're T-bills that are actually mortgages. They're synonymous at this point. And nobody knows that, right? God, what's the name of that movie? The Big. Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Take 2 seconds here.
Yeah, as soon as you get it, I'll go, oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, Nixon did 2 wonderful things for the country. Got rid of the gold standard. He thought it'd be a great idea to do business with China. Communists, not our friends. It's like making friends with a drug dealer.
The Big Short.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The Big Short is the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the reason why I talk about this is because a long lead up to when I say who are the greedy folks, they're the hedge funds, BlackRock, There's another one, there's BlackRock, Black Turnpike or something. There's a couple very big ones, and they're hedge fund guys that are using stock market money to buy properties. And they are. Last time I heard, they were 28% of the market.
Like they own 28% of the housing.
28% of the market buying properties.
Yeah, I heard they were in Los Angeles, going door to door buying up properties there.
Mm-hmm.
After the insurance companies couldn't insure the houses because the government said it was too much, so they couldn't do it.
Right.
Now you're stuck there with an uninsured house and somebody offering you money. Doesn't sound like a plan to me.
Yeah. All right, so that officially stops today. As you listen today, you will soon realize these strategies and gurus have outdated themselves and not stayed up with today's technology. Let me show you what I mean. The outdated system most are still trying to employ is what I call the FREP system, flipping real estate properties.
Mm-hmm.
And to prove to you that this is true, their mantra is location, location, location.
Right.
Okay. So really, it's real estate. Realtors is a misnomer. It's really bankers. It's a banker system. It's a derivative of the banking system. It's a arm of the banking system. It's a way for bankers to get 3 times their money. You borrow $100,000, and 30 years later, you've paid 250 or 300,000, depending on the interest rate on that property.
Yep.
So really, it has nothing to do with real estate. Has everything to do with the money, which is how I figured this out, because I started chasing the money. And the only one that makes all the money in this business are the bankers, which have fake money. Right? Like we learned in The Creature from Jekyll Island. I named the number because I did so many closings, but page 38 of a mortgage document, because there's usually 37 documents in a mortgage or a loan. Page 38 is when the bank attaches to the back of the loan how it could receive 10 times the amount of the loan for its bank.
When they get the money from the government.
When they submit an FHA mortgage or a government mortgage, if it's $100,000, they receive $1 million, which is fraudulent within itself, because now if you don't pay, the bank comes after you and tries to foreclose on you for money that they got 10 times. They got $1 million for it.
Yeah, they're not suffering.
Really, yeah, they're not suffering, right? And car talk, because I'm a car guy. It is, what I mean by outdated, right? Like, so I'm talking about an outdated system, right? This is like it's nice and even fun to drive a 1957 Chevy Bel Air.
Sure.
But is it the best and most efficient way to get back and forth to work? You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Nope. Instead, today's creative real estate entrepreneurs use our FRED system, which is flipping real estate documents, which is what controls the real estate. Right?
Yep.
The documents control the real estate. Right? This means controlling property without owning them for infinite rates of return, without debt, risk, and potential legal trouble. Am I making sense, or am I?
No, I'm following.
Okay. Which means in today's real estate economy, real estate is made to take money out of it, not put money into it. This is why I say that.
Yeah.
Right. Honestly, once you get certified, meaning you've gone through the knowledge, and you're actually tested, and you get a certification, you will look back and see how silly it is that so many are getting new loans to replace the money the seller already has in a property, because they didn't know how to help the seller flip their property from being a liability, which means that takes money away. A liability means money goes away. And into an asset, which means you make money with it, without all the outdated, not known landlord obligations and skills that you need to do this. When you actually, this is like the book that Benjamin Hardy wrote, The Future You. Right? When you go into the future after you've been certified, and you look back and you say, wow, I don't know why I was doing that before. You understand?
Well, hindsight is 2020 now, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah.
So actually, if realtors really knew, this was the part that baffles me. And this is the part that I'm going head on for. This is where I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to confront this with the rest of the world, rest of America.
It's enough.
If realtors really knew they could use a single option agreement instead of their listing contracts, they would soon see that they don't need a license. And all of the NAR requirements, National Association of Realtor requirements.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. And here's the part that really baffles me, Peter,
Yeah.
is if you go in the MLS, multiple listing service, options and leases are actually in their system and they have the ability to use them. Which brings me full circle back to the beginning of the podcast, or just a few minutes ago, when I said it's not a realtor system, it's a banker system.
Yeah. Well, to me, the big difference is the bank wants all the money right now. And the way we work, the money can be stretched into the future and you make more, like an investment. You don't want to like take a golden goose and just sell it or eat it for supper. You want to keep it. The bank doesn't care. It just wants all the money now. Thank you very much. And we're looking at a longer term, more affluent
Yeah,
future.
let me explain that, because what you just said is confusing. So let me see if I can help you there. So the selling bank wants all their money now.
Yeah.
Right. So if a seller has $200,000 mortgage on the property, here's the weirdness of it. I mean, I hope I can do a good job with this, because I'm still fumbling around with trying to get this one point fully understood.
Yeah.
Technically, what we're doing is giving a win-win-win-win-win-win situation. I mean, let's talk about the bank loan.
Okay.
There's prepayment penalties.
Mm.
There's due on sale clause penalties, but that's only because someone broke the collateral string and the house is no longer collateral. That's the only time you'll trigger a due on sale clause. Right?
Yeah.
Technically, the bank wants you to pay them monthly, because every month, when you take a mortgage and you go buy a house and you get a mortgage, the first thing you're going to notice is you don't have to pay for 30 to 45 days, which begs the question of why. Well, that's because you have to use the money before they can charge you the interest. So that's why you pay every 30 days, because it takes 30 days use of the money and then you pay up.
Makes sense. They're charging you for use of the money. If you didn't use the money, they can't charge you. So once you've used it, then you owe them.
So if everybody paid their mortgage off, what would happen to the banking business?
Bill, I know people have worked at the bank and they push the tellers to sell mortgages and loans. The tellers, not the guys at the desk. They push the tellers, sell mortgages. That's how big a deal it is.
The hidden mission. And I know this because I was in a bar one time when I was traveling. I used to travel 40 weeks or 45 weeks a year, consulting automotive repair shops. And I was all over the country and Canada. And so there was many times I'd be at the end of the night, it'd be late, and I'd be at a bar, because it's the only thing that was open in a hotel for food, right?
Sure.
At that time, I drank a little bit, but I mean, because I don't drink at all now. But back then, I'd have a drink and I'd have a salad or whatever. And one time I was in a bar and there were two guys at the end of the bar, the corner of the bar, where it ends and it goes around, it's like an L shape. Yep. And I'm listening to them talk. There was actually two guys and a third guy joined them, and they were talking about starting a bank.
Starting a bank, wow. Yeah.
And I actually realized at that point, just by the way they were talking, their sole mission of that bank was to get every last ounce of equity out of real estate. And that was a head spinner for me. Yeah, I heard them say that. How much equity can we get out of whatever county? I think I forgot where I was, Oklahoma or something. I don't remember where I was.
Right.
Which is common when you travel 45 weeks a year. You wake up in the morning, you wonder where you're
at. Where am I?
You got to look outside the window sometimes.
If it's grits, you're in the South.
Yeah, exactly. So you see what I'm saying? So
they want the equity because that they squeeze the interest out of it, and they live on the. It's a tremendous
because equity is interest-free money. Equity is interest-free money.
Well, when you have equity, when you have equity in the house, they can't take the interest on it. But if they have the equity, they get the interest. Yeah.
So technically, the new system, which was designed in the 50s, was all about. That's what made the realtor popular.
Yeah.
Because prior to then, it would be like, I want to buy your farm, Pete.
Mhm.
Okay, and we make a deal, and I don't know. I'm being facetious. Back in 1700s, 1800s, I'll give you, 3 chickens, 4 cows, and a horse a month, or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Whatever they did, or money, if they had money, because you have to realize
It's bartering.
money was not money in the United States until the 20s, when they actually came up with the Federal Reserve and all this stuff they talk about in the Creature from Jekyll Island. Because prior to then, money was not real. Money was not fiat. Fiat means by law you have to use this money and only this money. Prior to the 20s, which is, by the way, what caused the recession, according to Napoleon Hill.
Right.
I think it was more along the taxes. I think the taxes is what caused it. Because prior to 1927 or 28, there was no taxes. There was no
income tax.
income tax.
Yeah. Then when they taxed the millionaires.
Started taxing them, all of a sudden the money started slowing down and crashing. And between the Federal Reserve and the tax thing, they crushed the system. People didn't like change, and they rushed to the bank and tried to get their money out, and there wasn't enough there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So if the money's already in the house, if the seller's already gone through the hassle of getting a loan, right, then why do we need to go get a new loan?
Yep.
The reason why is because we don't know how to do it any other way. Right?
Yep.
Knowing this one legal fact unlocks huge, unique opportunities for everyone. Not to mention, breaks up the realtor monopoly that has been bullying us for about 75 years. I mean, if you want to sell a house, where do you go?
You got to sell it, go to the realtor.
Okay, where else can you go? Yeah, there's the monopoly right there.
Yeah, duh.
You sell it on your own. You can do for sale by owner, but you're going to get raped because you don't know what you're doing. That's like saying, if your car breaks down, you have 2 choices. You can bring it to an auto mechanic or fix it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
The raw honesty is, none of us ever thought of testing before investing in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the huge epiphany that I had that changed everything. I mean, think of this, Pete. They do this in the stock market, right?
Yeah.
With dry trading. You know what dry trading is?
Well, I haven't heard the term, but that's like when you're practicing.
Yeah. So you pick your stocks, and in a day or two, you see what the results were. Did the stocks go up? So in other words, you don't buy them. You just on paper say this stock and that stock, and it's worth this much and it's worth that much. And then a day or two or a week or two, you see how your picks did. They went up or they went down. It was dry trading. In other words, no money.
Yeah.
Right. So why don't we do this in real estate? Why do we have to jump in and have all the risk right away?
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly the code that I broke. And I'll tell you the reason why is because the bankers, the banking system, and the realtor system are 2 partners that can't be broken.
Mm.
Right?
That's true.
Because they're making too much money. And it's too easy for people to just go get a loan, and within 30 days, not have to learn anything about real estate. Just it's good for the person that, like, it's like you know nothing about cars other than you put gas in it and you drive it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's all you want to know. You just want to know, is my car ready? Can I start it? Can I go to the grocery store?
Yep.
Right. And that's how people treat real estate. They don't know anything about it. They don't want anything to know about it. And the biggest lie on the planet, or in America, is they hire a realtor thinking the realtor is going to educate them, and the realtors most often don't even know what they know. Or they don't know much more than the seller in most cases. Probably about 85% of the cases.
Well, it's a real easy system.
Right.
Sign the paper, list the house on the internet, and kind of wait. It's not that hard.
It's like the gurus. It's like the gurus in the past. They all teach wholesaling. Why do they teach wholesaling? Not because it's the best way to do real estate. It's because it's easiest for them to teach, and they can charge $5,000, $10,000 to do it.
Yeah, and it looks awful easy. Boy, I can make money just doing that. But yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So we look at real estate investing backwards. We think we need to find a seller who will give us a deal and then go sell it. And I've done this for 30 years. No. It's completely wrong. What we need to do is what the realtor system does right under our nose and nobody pays attention to. It's like saying to a fish, isn't that water dirty? And he'll go,
Yeah.
what water? Doesn't
Yep.
know he's living in it, right?
Yep.
The realtor gets a listing agreement and then finds the buyer, right? See, the buyer pays us, not the seller. So why are we chasing sellers when they don't pay us? Which means the reason so many real estate entrepreneurs are broke is because they don't have inventory to attract the buyers with all the money. The buyer's going to the bank. The buyer's looking. The buyer's actively hunting. I mean, I've been through this with my wife. I mean, when she decided that she wants to buy a property in Florida and she thought we were going to buy a second property.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was incredible the amount of hours per day she spent searching for property. It was incredible. And which completely blows me away because the realtor system did it to themselves, because really the realtor system was built. It grew exponentially in the early 90s, I think 93 and 94, when they developed the MLS system. That's when they really grew. Because what happened was the only purpose of a realtor is to go find you a buyer, write the purchase and sales contract, and then turn it over to the legal beagles and let them do the closing. Except the sellers don't really pay attention to their closings and deals fall apart. So the good realtors step in and keep things moving.
Right.
They're the communication between everybody. So they keep communicating to keep the squeaky wheel with grease on it. Right.
If they don't get their commission. So you got to work at it.
Right. So the point that I'm making here is that the MLS was their device. The multiple listing service was a piece of software that they housed behind password protected paid subscriptions to NAR, the property. Then NAR decided that it wasn't well enough, and they went out and they got the MLS and they started distributing the properties. They own a company called value.com, which owns portions of Zillow and Redfin and realtor.com and Trulia. They either own the sites or it was the beginning of their demise, because now the gate got open. There's no more key to the gate. So now all of a sudden buyers could go find properties other places than realtors. And now the realtor is saying after COVID, oh my goodness, there's no property. No, and I asked my realtor, he sat in my office last week. I said, there's no properties, or there's no properties on the MLS? And he said, fair point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So they took their restriction from having the buyers locked up under their contracts to showing off all their inventory. It's like showing all their secrets. That's like President Trump currently. President Trump standing up in front of a press conference and telling everybody what's he going to do to Russia next week, so the Russians can watch the TV and know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's like you and I don't know, telling our deals, like our when we're selling a property or buying a property, telling everybody what our strategy is. Right. And just, that's kind of a bad example. But anyways.
Well, it's like saying we have a lead we're working on.
Right.
And then somebody can go get the lead.
Right.
You don't tip your hand.
So
fatal mistake.
The point is that realtors were controlling all of the inventory for the last 75 years. They're controlling the inventory. They're the ones that have the monopoly of controlling all the inventory, because there's no other place to go if you want to sell a house. And by inventory, I mean a listing contract. So you can't go anywhere else and sell that property once you sign a listing agreement for at least 6 months. So
Yeah.
they have the inventory locked up. They have the right to sell that inventory, and nobody else does. Right?
Exclusive is a good word they use.
It's exclusive, right? So that means that the only way that our real estate entrepreneurs can make money is to have inventory. If they have no inventory or houses to sell, no buyers are making offers and no one's getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the inventory on the market and attracting the buyers, then you don't have a business, you have a hobby. So why are we spending so much time trying to learn how to talk to the seller and scripts and say this and say that, right? Because honestly, Peter, I've deduced after all this time and all these podcasts that real estate is about two things, only two things, no more than two things, and just these two things:
No way. Two things. What are they?
math and emotions.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Real estate comes down to math and emotion. That's all we need to know is those two things.
Sure. There's a bunch of numbers on a house, but if a person on the other end doesn't feel like it, has emotions about it or whatever, I can't let go, I gotta go. The emotions, like, what good is the numbers? Won't go anywhere.
Or just the opposite, the reason why they're so you're looking at me like I got three heads. What happened?
I'm looking at you because you froze for 10 seconds, so I didn't hear what you said.
I said emotions on the other end, why they're selling it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I hate that house.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So it isn't any simpler than this, honestly. I mean, truly. The funny thing is, done this way, getting inventory and finding the buyer, here's what happens. The buyer does all the offer work for us. This is why we could take a brand new person and skip the beginner stage, and why we don't need to study anymore about how to structure deals. All we need to do is get the piece of inventory with an option agreement or a lease option agreement, one or the other, depending on what the seller is willing to do, right? We're going to go over that in a minute. And post it and start getting buyers to come look at the property. And the buyer not only is going to make us an offer, but they're going to do all their due diligence. They're going to tell us if it's got a cracked basement, or if there's an atomic bomb in the backyard, or if there's a nuclear plant around the corner, or if there's a pedophile next door. And I've heard all, I mean, not the nuclear stuff, but I've heard all these kind of crazy things. I've had deals where I'm closing, and I actually, not too long ago, about a year ago, I had someone tell me that there was a pedophile in the neighborhood and they couldn't live there.
Wow.
Because they went online.
Wow.
Right? So the buyer is going to do all the due diligence because the buyer is the one paying.
Well, yeah, they have the real skin in the. They're going to be there for the long term when we leave. But the thing is that it lets us do this. We don't have a deed on the house. We're not stuck with the house. If we have just an option, if it turns out not so hot, we're not stuck with it.
Right.
We're just trying to control the property. If it's not good, we can walk away. So we're not in danger. We don't have to do all the due diligence before because we're not in trouble. We're not at risk.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go over what I mean by breaking down the new certified system, this new certified program.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we're going to do. So there are 6 stages. That's it. 6 stages of certification. Right? And it all depends upon your wisdom, which, by the way, this entire thing, this happened with you on this podcast. I looked up the word wisdom on this podcast about 4, 5, or 10 podcasts ago, and realized, or maybe, I don't know exactly about that part, but the word wisdom means knowledge with experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the statement that I made was, we're overloaded with information, starving for wisdom.
Yeah.
That's where this entire system came from.
No, that's crazy.
It kind of kicked some stuff off in my head, right?
Yeah.
So wisdom is knowledge with experience. So how do you get experience? And I'm going to tell you how right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's on gradient steps. You have to go gradiently through the system. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 6 steps to go through the system. So stage 1, I'm going to call it a stage because that's a particular level or particular place to be, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking levels.
Yeah.
Because you're progressing to a higher level, more knowledge, more wisdom, all that. So yeah, you're starting at the beginning and you're getting somewhere.
So stage 1 is risk-free testing, because realize we're going to test before you invest, and we're going to use money now, money monthly, money later to evaluate what we're doing. Right? So stage 1 is risk-free testing with slut deals, where you simply buy an option agreement for $100 or $1. You buy an option agreement for $1 and sell it to someone for 5% of market value. So on a $300,000 house, it would be $15,000. The average price of a house right now in America is $419,000. So you'd be selling it for 5%, which is $20,000.
Yep.
So you're going to put down $1 to $100, depending on how your system works, and you're going to buy an option agreement, and you're going to literally go wholesale it. Right? The buyer pays rent for 36 months while getting qualified for a mortgage. Right? In the meantime, the seller has no landlord obligations because of the way the lease is written. And earns, get this, it earns with 4 numbers. The seller earns 35% more than market value by waiting to get paid. Right? And that's because they get cash flow. They get cash flow, principal reduction on their mortgage, depreciation, and appreciation.
And no closing costs. And the closing costs.
And no closing costs.
Yeah.
For 35% of market value. Right? So it's a really cool thing. Money now, money monthly, money later. This is money now. And only money now.
Right, because we're not staying in the deal. We get that down payment from the buyer, and then we move on. So we get that money. And like we said, 5% of a current house in America is not like $5,000 and like it used to be in the old days. It's pretty good change.
Right.
$21,000.
Right. So let me see. Let me pull something up here. So. Why I can't find this. All right. So the risk here is very low. Right. It's extremely low. I don't know why I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm going to do that later. So the risk is extremely low, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. Now, if we move on to number 2, stage 2, what if the buyer doesn't, what if the seller doesn't want to do terms? They want all cash. So at that point, we would move on to stage 2, right? For the seller who cannot wait 36 months to get paid. Here we get a 5% to 10% discount and sell it much like the realtor system. The realtor gets 5%, so why can't we? The difference is the realtor's 5% is coming from the seller's money. Our 5% is going to come from our buyer. So if we have a $400,000 house and we ask for 5% discount, right? That means we're going to sign an option agreement for $380,000.
Yeah.
What we should do is we should sell it for $385,000, and we make $5,000. And by doing that, right, we're giving the buyer, we're attracting the buyer because it's $15,000 below market value. Right. And it attracts buyers because all the other houses are for 400, 410, whatever. That are in pretty condition, right? And now we're going to be at 385, and often this will cause some bidding wars. Now the market's changing quite a bit, so this strategy is not as popular. We don't in my real estate career of 30 years, I've only used options twice. This is one of the times, right? But it is a way, because what happens is when you have an appreciating market like we've had since COVID,
Yep.
In other words, every week, every month, the price of the house goes up. People are not willing to do terms because they think they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the reason why we do this. Now, here's the interesting thing. I'm telling you to make $5,000, right?
Yeah.
A realtor, most realtors, will split commission between. First of all, so if it's 5%, the buying realtor and the selling realtor will split the commission.
Sure.
Even though NAR says they can't do that anymore, they're still doing it. So that means the buying agent gets 2.5%, and the selling agent gets 2.5%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what usually happens is the broker and the agent split it again 50-50. So that means that the realtor is only getting about 1.25%.
Mm.
That's $6,000. So we're telling you to make $5,000 or $6,000, which is the same that a realtor would make
Mm-hmm.
in your pocket. So it's not something. I'm not stretching this by saying that it's some funky idea. This is where I got the numbers from, right? Realize these deals are no risk, no obligation deals, and we're just testing the market with either the slot deal, which is a sandwich lease option, which is the first one we're buying the option and leasing it,
Mm-hmm.
or we're doing an option agreement. Both are money now, very low risk. You're testing the market, the overall market. You're testing what it's like there, how much the properties are worth, how much could you sell them for, how many people will it attract, what good neighborhoods are there. You're going to find out about school systems. You're going to find out about, the whole management of the city. You're going to find all the skullduggery and all the good and the bad of the properties when you're doing this, because you'll be talking to enough buyers that you'll learn that market fairly quick.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Sure.
Then we get down to stage 3, and stage 3 is where you're testing money now, money monthly, money later. Because realize the first 2 were just money now, right? They're just like the realtor system. You just buy and sell, and you got a job,
Mm-hmm.
right? Here, you're going to learn how to comfortably handle contract management, financial management, without risk or capital invested, right? It's still testing your buyer and where you can get your money for your deals. But you're going up the ladder, so it's like another level,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a little bit more on you, and if you do that in this order, you'll keep getting more and more education. You'll get more and more wisdom, right? And as you get more wisdom, you take a little bit more responsibility and a little bit more risk. But you're comfortable with it. You're confident with it because you've done deals and you know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've actually like demoed it out, like this is how you do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which brings us up to stage 4. Go ahead.
Well, the famous story that when I tried to start in real estate after a weekend seminar with like all these things to do, I called you up and it was like, where the hell do you start?
Right.
Because they throw the whole thing at you and it's like, so this is, start here. It's the simplest, straightforward. I mean, half of it is just doing a lease. Who hasn't rented a piece of property, right?
Right. Yeah. The first 2 are 95% of it because you've had a landlord before and you've done these. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So stage 4 or level 4 is starting to invest. So you've been testing stage 1, 2, and 3. You've been testing. You feel confident. You've had no money in the deal. $100 to $100 is what you've invested in each one of your deals. You should be taking chunks of dough out, at least 5%. $5, $10, $20,000, $30,000. You should be taking chunks of dough out. Because it's just money now and you don't really have to keep it. You have money in reserve from stage 3 already because you save some money for reserve in case somebody doesn't pay a lease. You're pretty set up. You should be getting chunks of dough. You should be reinvesting it in your business so that when you get to stage 4, you start to invest, but still testing with lowers amount of money, right? Here we delve into the more complex deals like subject to, owner financing, wraparounds, land contracts, etc. Here, what you're doing is we get into the deal like you're doing a subject to deal, or we'll say a foreclosure deal, and their payment, you need $10,000 to catch up the payments to do a subject to deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll have the $10,000 because you did the other deals and you saved some money, and you have the money, but you're not paying the whole $200,000 that they owe. Right. You're only paying the past payments. So you're investing with just a little bit of money first to see how it works, right? But this is the point where you start getting more and more responsibility, because at this point you're starting to get a deed in your name now. This is when you get your LLC. This is when you start talking about asset protection. This is when you put insurance in your own name. This is like the trigger point, right? Of when you're going to start building your portfolio. At this point, you're going to start building a portfolio.
Right. That makes sense, because you got the deed now.
And you're going to get back end benefits like tax depreciation, interest paid with interest write-off payments, depreciation, appreciation, all the plus the money now, money monthly, money later, which is actually 7 profit centers. Right? 7 profit centers. So you're going to put up 10 grand, we'll say, or 3 grand, or whatever amount of money, which you could use a private lender to do as well, but the deal is a little bit different. Yeah. Right? Because you're getting a deed and you've changed the type of thing. The main point is we only need 5 to 10% of the deal to get into it, not the 100%, right, of the money, and no loan qualifications. We still haven't gone to loan qualifications yet. We're on step 4, and we haven't gotten to any hard money, private money, lending, none of that. We haven't done any of that stuff yet, right? So we're testing if we can invest with small amounts of money, which we should have, like I said, from now, had chunks of dough from stages 1 to 3 to build our business, right? Now in stage 5, or level 5, it's portfolio expansion and advanced scaling. Now that you've mastered each one of the stages before, 1 through 4, you're now ready and feel confident in paying for the full amount of the house. Now we can start doing fix and flips or all cash deals. Now we can go get private lenders or bank loans or hard money, because we're confident that we know we learned the market in stage 1 and 2, right? We learn how to sell the property, right? Money now, money monthly, money later, because we tested the lease option strategy on how we're going to sell our property. So we know how to sell the property. We understand the buyers. We understand how much they want to pay. We know what the monthly amounts are. We know what the tax man's like. We know what the sewer and water's like. We know what the insurance is like, because we tested all that in number 3. And we know it all because we tested it with somebody else's money, not ours. Now we know all of that. So now we can buy a fix and flip, because we know how much the houses are look. We know what's famous. We know we need granite top, not this. We know we need a farmer sink, not a, you know what I mean? We know what kind of floors to put in the house. We know what colors. We know what neighborhoods. We have a full-blown evaluation because we've done deals.
That's crazy, because look how long it took you to get to this point. But that's all people see on TV. And we've had people come to our seminars and live things and goes, "Oh, I want to flip a house." Like, as your first move, like, no, I don't think so. That's what they're thinking. They watch TV,
right?
So it's not a good place to start.
In this stage, you have tested your market, like I said. You know your buyer. You know what kind of houses. You know everything you need to do, and your skills are much better because you've done deals. You've done 5, 10, 20 deals, making money all the way along. Yeah. The difference is now you're going to start talking about portfolio money, where you can start talking about retiring early. Money now, money monthly, money later, right? Now we start buying houses, like I said, either with our own money or hard money or private money, whatever it is. But here's the thing. You can use all the deals we did during our testing from stage 1 to stage 4 without capital, risk, or mistakes as our experience to tell the lender, "Oh, I've done 8 properties so far." And show him the deals. Show him the checks. You make photocopies of the checks and show him, I made this much on this house. I made that much on this house. I made that much on this house, because you got 8 checks that you can say to him, take a look. How hard is it to find a lender then? Right? They're much more comfortable with you because they can drive by, they can see the houses, and you're showing them a check.
Yep.
Right?
You're not a rookie. Easier. You're not really a rookie anymore at that point.
No. Which then brings us to stage 6, right? Which is the last one of the stages, right? This is the crucial, and I mean crucial. What does crucial mean?
It means it's really important. Like if you don't do it, things aren't going to turn out.
Absolutely vital, right? This is the crucial transition from being a hands-on operator in your business and creating a hands-off operation. Focusing on the systems, processes, and key personnel needed to achieve true freedom. Up to now, you were an integral part of the business. Right? By now, in this phase, it's not merely about getting work done. It's about deeply understanding every process, discovering what works, and identifying what doesn't work, which, by the way, that's what we call policy.
Yeah.
The successful actions. So you're going to start writing some policy or some things, which with AI now is so easy. I mean, I'm not going to get into that because I can tell you how to do it, like, so simple. It is so critically. I mean, you could probably write most of the policy in your business in an afternoon with AI if you knew how to do it.
Wow.
Okay. So the point is this. Success, definition of success is doing more of the right, less of the wrong. So you were the scout that went into the jungle and figured out what's right and what's wrong. And now you are going to organize it, and you're going to actually create a detailed blueprint that will enable others to actually replicate your success without making all the mistakes. And this is going to be your bedrock of your hands-off operation. It's going to give you some solidity on what to do and what not to do, and what to reference and what not to reference. So do you see how this new system, the 6 steps, and what I'm going to do is I already have the software, I already have the team, I already have everything in place. We're working on it now, right? You're going to get, once I release my book, the book is called, let me get the name of it, because I want to make sure I give you the exact name of the book. It's called Leads, Deals, Cash, Creative Real Estate Secrets You Need to Know. And it's all in the book. And the program, the certified program, is going to take you through the chapters of the book. And then at the end of each chapter, you'll have weekly lessons. So you'll do 4 weekly lessons in each chapter. And you'll answer questions and write some essays, and you'll turn them in for correction. And if you get them corrected, you go on to the next chapter. There's actually 12 chapters, so there's actually 14, but it's a 12-month program, because it's going to take you that long to actually, because I don't want you to pass a test with memory. I want you to buy houses. I want you to make money. I want you to submit your checks. And I want you to show people that you're applying this data, right? So I hope you can see the 6 stages provide an easy step-by-step approach where each stage builds upon the previous one for experience, market analysis, and a proven track record. This is a really for real, and I beg anybody to send me your opinions on this to flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com. Oppose it if you think that it's a bad idea, if you think it's a great idea. And if you do that, I might even put you in the certification program for free. We'll see what happens. I have to beta test it. So we'll see what happens. I'm not promising it, but it's likely going to happen. I'm going to have to put people in there to work it out. So give me your opinions. Give me your opinion. Give me your opinions about it, good or bad, because who else is doing this, Peter? Right?
No.
It allows entrepreneurs to incrementally, am I saying that right?
It's good.
Increase their involvement and financial commitment as they become more and more skilled. Right? So yeah, it might take a year for you to get certified, but you're going to be making money your first 90 days.
Now, a year may sound long to people, but if you think of what's happening, how many people have started something and a year later they've gone through the stages and done that many kind of deals and learned how to do it? That's huge.
I've not seen it.
No. We know people in a year haven't done a thing. So 5 years. So yeah.
All right. Now that we have, the important point is now we have a source point. We have a source point of the data, which is the book.
Yeah.
Right. And the book is not fluffy. I mean, I could have written it that way, but it's literally when I in my system behind the scenes, the name of the book is CREOM. Creative Real Estate Operating Manual. That's what I named it in my system. It's the Creative Real Estate Operating Manual. The real book name is not that, but it's like in all my, in where I keep all my data in my files, it's CREOM, Creative Real Estate Operating Manual, because that's what it is.
I like that.
It's a manual.
I like that.
Yeah. Right. All right. Now that we've worked the stages and their functions, I'm proud to announce that I have a new book, which I just told you about, that is being published, and it's called Leads, Deals, Cash, Creative Real Estate Secrets That You Need to Know. And then shortly, very shortly, within another podcast or two, we're going to have a release for the mentor program that's going to be done online. I'm telling you, if you send me an email to flippinghouses4rookies@gmail.com and tell me what you think about this podcast and the idea and being certified, it is highly likely that for the first handful of people, I'm going to put them in the system for free. Because I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be for free. Actually, what's going to happen is I'm going to do a quarter at a time, 3 months at a time. I'm going to put so many people in there. I'll start off with 25 people, and then I close the doors. And every quarter, it will go up $500. So it'll start off at $1,000. It'll be $1,500, and the real price is between $3,000 and $5,000 is what people are going to pay to be in this program. Right? Mm-hmm. And I'm still working things out because I'd like to do a call a month. It has support groups in it, so you can go in for support groups. It has all kinds of stuff in it. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's like going to a university. I mean, my daughter teaches at a community college, and each credit is, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. She went to college in a college. She's going for her PhD now. She's got a lot of degrees. And she was paying $40,000, $43,000 a year to be in this college.
Of course.
So to have a college that you can go to and get certified for $3,000 to $5,000 to make more than your doctor or your lawyer is ridiculous, right? So I went back and forth on whether I should write this podcast because it's premature. But I decided it just for this reason. The book's not out. The mentorship is not out. I'm asking people to send me email. Maybe nobody sends me an email. And I'm telling you, I'm looking for your feedback on the concept because it is a concept right now. I mean, I've written everything. I've spent a lot of money, a lot of time on it. I want your feedback of what I just told you. And for that, it is very likely you will be one of the beta testers. Now, obviously, there's going to be listeners that will be listening to this podcast after I've released it. And at that point, once I start selling it, you won't get this offer anymore. So I'm going to reward the guys that are here every week, the people that listen to us often and are timely with our podcast. They don't just come in and listen to one every 3 months. those guys won't win, or girls won't win. So how cool is it, Peter, that you can earn while you learn?
Well, I know you pretty well. We know each other. And I know all the things that you've done to get to this point. This doesn't come out of your head. There's a lot to go into how to train someone, how to lay it out, how to have it so people can understand it, how to have it so that people can actually use it and apply it and get to the next step. There's a lot behind this that, people don't see, but I know is there. So
well, I can tell you this much, Peter.
I'm excited for you. How's about that?
Thank you. I can tell you this much. I'm not going to mention any names because I never have, but I'm in 3 coaching groups. One is my own. The other is Creative REI Reply, which there's 4 partners there, so I only get a quarter of the income, right?
Uh-huh.
And the other is another gentleman that charges $10,000 for a 3-month coaching program, and I do it for free. I don't get any of the money. And I've been doing it now for several years.
Uh-huh.
And my wife asks me, how come?
Uh-huh.
This is the reason how come, because it gets me exposed to other people that are not in my universe. They didn't come because of me. In my own groups, they're there. Creative REI Reply, they're there because they're doing the software and they've watched my training.
Uh-huh.
Right? My coaching clients come to me because they've listened to podcasts and read my books and they want my assistance. So it's because of me. This other group, I do it because it's not my stuff. And it works for them too.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I know. So I've got years worth of coaching, hundreds of students that have allowed me to do exactly what you're talking about. It's not just doing deals myself, and it's not just my students doing the deals. It's what works the quickest and what gets to them the fastest, and what wisdom do they need to know, and cut out all the information they don't need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's big.
That's not been easy.
No.
Right.
No, I would say one more thing though. Like, if you look at it, like, you did not invent lease options.
No.
We know these things.
Yep.
So it's not like, wow, I never saw that, never saw that. That's not the point. The point is how it's put together, how it's used.
Right.
That is what makes the difference. There's been wisdom for thousands of years.
Right.
But if you don't know how to use it, how to put it together so it gets you somewhere, how long have we had a wheel? You have to do it the right way. And that's what I see. Yeah, that's what I see when I go reading through the book. It's just the way it's put together, the way it's organized, the way it works. It's another story.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, someday in the future, Peter, you and I will think back and remember how this evolution of creative real estate entrepreneurs became bigger than the realtor system. And tell our kids and grandkids about it. So the dedication to the book is I'd like to say thank you to my 3 grandchildren, Max, Molly, and Mason, for inspiring me to make a legacy, to build a legacy. And that says it all right there. Okay, we're all done. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Make sure you like us. If you so desire, leave a 5-star review. You can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. You can get a bunch of goodies, scripts, and calculators, and courses, and whatever else. If you so desire to be part of the get a free, this is the only time I will ever say this, to get a free 1-year coaching, the way I explained today, the mentorship for 1 year that will start off at $1,000, eventually within 6 months or a year, or within a year will be $3,000 to $5,000. You can send me your opinions about this podcast, whether you like the idea, didn't like the idea, want to be part of the beta program. Which, by the way, part of the beta program means that things will break, and you'll have to tell me when they break, and I'll have to fix them. Right? But the point is you can get in for free if you send me your opinions about this podcast, whether you like it or not like it. If you have some ideas that I haven't thought about or Peter hasn't thought about, you send those into flippinghousesforrookies@gmail.com. All right, Peter, we're done with episode 446 is in the can, baby. We're done. Flourish and prosper. Have a great week. We will talk to you in 7 days from now with podcast number 447. Over and out.